A look at Centennial Park in downtown Atlanta, Georgia, home of the 1996 Olympics, and tonight we invade Mercedes Benz Stadium for the second straight year. It's been back and forth at the top for Monster Energy, Gravedigger, and Dragon Ice, but for Todd LeDuc, Charlie Pauken, and John Zimmer, only one can walk away champion and punch his ticket to Orlando. Will it continue to be a three-team dance, or will someone step up and challenge for the trophy? We're in the ATL. This is Stadium Championship Series 3. This is Monster Jam. Welcome to Monster Jam. I'm your host, Scott Jordan, alongside Gray Clips Mohawk Warrior driver Bryce Kenny and Leslie Mears. And today we are in Atlanta at the incredible Mercedes Benz Stadium for Stadium Championship Series 3. And Bryce, the point standings are tightening up. 3 points separate 1 and 2. And if you're sitting in second place like John Zimmer and Dragon Ice, how do you get to the front of the pack?
Well, you have to maximize all of your opportunities. And John Zimmer's been doing this a long time. If there's anyone that can make sure that he's taking advantage of the situation, it's going to be John.
Right now, let's take a look at the point standings for Stadium Championship Series 3. So coming into today's event, Todd LeDuc clinging to that 3-point lead over John Zimmer and Dragon Ice. Charlie Pauken is right there with 6 points behind Todd LeDuc. Lindsey Wink, Becky McDonough, Cole Bernard, Brianna Mahan still in it. You can't count anybody out in this championship series. For more on the points, let's go to our pit reporter, Leslie Mears.
The points chase has been intense all season long here on Stadium Tour 3, but it's about to get more fierce on day 2 here in Atlanta. With only 6 points separating the top 3 in competition, the leader, Todd LeDuc, looks to set himself apart from the pack after a lackluster performance on day 1. But some familiar stars shine in the first day of competition here, with Overkill Evolution and Mike Botters II picking up his 2nd racing championship. Cole Bernard in Black Pearl took home his 4th freestyle victory of the year, and Becky McDonough in El Toro Loco seized her 2nd two-wheel skills championship and her 1st overall event championship.
Monster Jam Freestyle underway now. Kevin King in Monster Mutt going to start his run off with a nice jump over the bus and gets back into a slap wheelie. So a good way to start it off for Kevin King in Monster Mutt.
It was definitely a technical start as well, and now that we're in stadiums today, he can kind of open it up and put a little bit more throttle behind the truck and really get the big air that the fans like to see as well. But right off the bat, the motor sounds off to me. It sounds like it might have a little bit of a timing issue, or there could be something inside the motor that's kind of loose. You never know, so he's probably keeping an eye on that oil pressure as well. So just a lot of things that he's having to deal with right away on this run.
Out of Waycross, Georgia, Kevin King sitting in with Team Scream for the 2019 season, now behind the wheel of Monster Mutt. He's piloted Fluffy for Monster Jam in the past. A nice little nose wheelie, gets it down the freestyle ramp, and we're seeing some good things to start it off for Kevin King. Back now on the flip side of the track, a nice jump over the freestyle ramp, now back across the pad, and down he goes. Kevin King, Monster Mutt, trying to make it happen, attempted the bicycle, didn't get what he wanted.
Well, it looks to me that there is something going on with that engine and is kind of robbing the truck of its horsepower. But the thing that Kevin's doing a great job of is dealing with that situation and keeping a lot of speed getting around the track. And so it's kind of hiding the fact that he may not have as much power to accelerate and get the massive air, but if you carry enough speed and hit those jumps, you'll still get the air that the fans want to see.
Well, he is setting the tone right now for Monster Jam Freestyle. The other drivers sitting back and watching this run from Kevin King. The fans want to get behind him. The Monster Mutt truck, a fan favorite for many years here in Monster Jam, and Kevin King is throwing it all over this freestyle track.
Well, this truck's definitely a fan favorite. I had the pleasure of driving this truck my very first year in Monster Jam, and the kids absolutely loved it. Lining up for that Monster Energy backflip ramp. Look, kind of an under rotation there. It almost sounded to me like maybe he was a little bit late on the throttle, and so it didn't give him quite the pop on that front end that you need to get that full rotation.
He does stick the landing. It may not have ended pretty, but it ends successfully. So Kevin King off to a nice start, 8.847. There's the jump over the bus. into the slap wheelie, and another good jump off that freestyle pad and back down. There is the backflip. Bryce literally lands it on the nose of Monster Mud.
Well, that truck is going to have a lot of fixing to do, but he doesn't care at this point because he came out and did his job. And another guy that's really good at doing his job is Corey Rummel in that Megalodon fire truck. And I have really enjoyed watching Corey over this season because there's just something about him that anytime he's out there on the floor, he looks like he's having more fun than anybody else out there competing. And it's really fun to watch.
Now, Corey Rummel is a guy that everybody that he tours with likes. They will not say anything bad about him. Well respected among his competitors and very competitive himself. He's been a crew member of Team Scream for a while. He's crewed for Avenger and Jim Kohler, and now behind the wheel of this awesome Megalodon fire, and he's getting some good jumps. And look at that front end, Bryce. The Shark falling apart on this track over 2 days, and a great jump for Corey Rummel in Megalodon fire.
Well, he lined up for that transition hit perfectly. Under speed. Oh, but an unlucky roller. Can he save it? He's got move. Oh, but no, there just was not enough momentum, unfortunately. And I've seen Corey pull out some amazing saves in situations just like that. But a 7.113, to me, that's a bit of a low score for that run.
You got to give him credit, A, for effort trying to save it, but he was on the hood of Megalodon, couldn't quite get it there.
What's going on, guys? I'm Cody Saucier. This is the science of Monster Jam, fueled by Monster Energy.
So this is where it all begins. As you can see on the floor, this is our Monster Jam chassis kit. We put onto our chassis table and we'll build the complete top half of the chassis. Every tab, every weld will be completed. From the top half, we'll transfer it over to the other side of our shop where the complete bottom half will be done. With the cradle, 4-link tabs, and everything completely welded. There's approximately 800 feet of tubing in a Monster Jam chassis. 44 pounds of welding wire is used per chassis, which equals out to about 2.5 miles of welding. The completed chassis weighs around 1,900 pounds and takes about 90 hours to complete.
Up next from Atlanta, it is the America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing Recap. An exciting part of this Monster Jam competition. Mercedes Benz Stadium is ready for Monster Jam action.
This portion of Monster Jam is brought to you by America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. It's not just a better deal, it's America's best.
We're in Atlanta for Stadium Championship Series 3, Mercedes Benz Stadium rocking, and the kids are breaking out the dance moves. That's how excited they are for America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing Recap.
Well, this dirt here at Mercedes Benz Stadium is really interesting. It's some of that Georgia clay, and so sometimes when it gets some moisture, it's slick on top, but it grabs underneath. And so far, when we were looking and watching a lot of these trucks run, you could tell they were kind of broke loose a little bit in that first turn and then accelerated out of it. And that's a pretty good situation for a Monster Jam truck to run in.
And Todd the Duke loves tracks like this. And look at the smooth turn for Todd the Duke and Monster Energy. Corey Rummel, Megalodon Fire gets stuck on that turn, and an easy win for Monster Energy.
Well, that right lane looked to be a little bit looser than the left because you could see him coming into that final turn and unfortunately just wasn't able to get past that slick stuff. But Todd the Duke in that left lane seems to like it. Either he's just a little bit smoother on that throttle, or that lane just might be better and it might have a little bit better traction, but takes an easy win over Jester and isn't looking back from there.
And if you keep getting the fastest time, you get your lane choice. In our semifinals, pushed to the other side by Mike Vaughters II in Overkill Evolution. Down the start straight, looked pretty even, but this is where Todd the Duke is so good. When he gets in that rhythm and gets the turns going, he is so strong and so fast.
Well, that was a very smooth turn for Todd the Duke, and Todd doesn't seem to be having any trouble with that right lane, so I'm curious if he chose the right lane or if Mike Vaughters II was able to get that lane choice. But a 17-second pass on this track, that's flying.
And the first meeting of the 2019 season between Todd the Duke and Lindsey Wink in Lucas Oil Crusader. And it all boiled down to this in our racing finals. Todd the Duke trying to take it. He's got a lead over Lindsey Wink around that final turn. Playing catch up now. And Lucas Oil Crusader hit the tire. And Todd the Duke celebrating with the fist pump. Your America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses racing winner, Todd the Duke, Monster Energy.
So Todd, you get forced into the right lane in semifinals. You go outside, inside, cheat in that corner, and get under 18 seconds for the first time of the night. You know, is that why you were over there for the finals in that right lane where the left had been so fast all night?
Yeah, the kicker out of the back turn in the left lane was way better, but the final turn was way better in that right. And I wanted that finish sprint to the end, and this Monster Energy truck was on fire. I knew it. I even called it this morning. I'm like, the truck just feels different. And this is the crucial point. We got to leave Atlanta with a points lead. And the only way to do that is to get 14 points in every event. We still have 2 more to go, but like I said, racing was insane. Daniel and them earned this win. This is for all the fans out at home. Unbelievable.
So for Todd LeDuc and Monster Energy, his first racing win in the 2019 season. Now we're back to freestyle with Nick Pagliarulo in Kraken, one of the rising stars in Monster Jam, now out with the Squid Squad in Atlanta.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch how he starts off this run, because Nick's somebody that either he goes out and starts huge, or he kind of starts off just trying to get to know the track a little bit. And in his early career with Monster Jam, that's pretty normal. I mean, there's still events that I'll go out there and just try to feel out the track a little bit to make sure it's going to adapt to what I want to do. And so far, it looks pretty tame. He might be probably taking too much of his time trying to get to know this track, and he just needs to go out there and hit something, get some air.
A nice jump there, but you see that a lot from the young drivers in freestyle. They take their time, feel out the track, tries to get up over the bus, gets the back 2 tires over it and down the freestyle ramp for Nick Pagliarulo in Kraken, trying to keep that truck together, but send it at the same time. Here's some donut revolutions, a little something in the corner that we haven't seen yet, and a bicycle for Kraken with a nice jump. So a good chain of events to get his freestyle run moving.
Well, it would be hard to get a nice donut on this Georgia clay. I tried to do a little bit of a donut last year. Unfortunately, caught a nice sidewall, and it wanted to send me over. However, when I'm looking at Nick's run right now, he's kind of gotten to the point where he's not really getting a flow to the run at this point. And you can do that because all of a sudden, when you're trying to feel out the track and all of a sudden you realize you only have 60 seconds left, you start to rush, and you start to do things you wouldn't normally do because you realize, hey, maybe the run's a little bit more tame than I had intended. And so I would expect that if I'm in Nick's seat right now, you've got to put some lead in that right foot, hit the throttle, and let's get a wow moment up for these fans.
Started out a little slow, almost in slow motion. We haven't seen that too often from Nick Pagliarulo in this season. It is his first competitive series, so there are going to be some growing pains. But, you know, his dad likes to send it right away, give you that big jump. And there's a good one for Nick Pagliarulo and Kraken.
Well, it's definitely some massive air. I'm not sure it's going to be enough for the fans to really get out of their seat and stay out of their seat. And that's really kind of the true test. It's not just can you have that one wow moment or one big jump, but can these fans expect to see something that they've not seen? Right there, you see it, got the truck upset. Can he pull it off? Yes, he just settles down, very composed, and he's able to really kind of regain composure of that Monster Jam truck.
And those are the moments we've come to see from Nick Pagliarulo this season in Kraken. There's some of his jumps. He put together a few nice ones, gets sideways on the sky wheelie on one tire on the nose, slides it down the ramp, and saves it on all 4 tires. So a great exclamation point for Nick Pagliarulo in Kraken.
Well, he had that big air with a nice controlled save at the end, and that's what the fans want to see. But Mike Vauders understands what the fans want to see because he's been doing this for quite a while. And right now, an 8.847 score to beat by Monster Mutt. That has held the majority of this event. So, Scott, you've been to a lot of events as well. What do you think the fans want to see?
Well, the fans want to see a lot more than what they've had so far. You want to see those spectacular moves, the back flips, the big jumps. You got to get their appetite wet, which has been done, but you got to keep their attention. Right now, Mike Vauders is a guy who can do it. He's been doing it since 1984. Get on the nose and a front flip as he lands it back on the 4 tires. I thought he was going to stay on 2, but he got all 4 down, and Mike Vauders with an incredible move, and that, Bryce, is what the fans want to see.
Well, the track is giving these guys and girls something to go off of, and that's really what you want to see. It's not just the drivers having to go out there and manufacture everything, but the way that the jumps are cut, the way that everything is shaped, you can allow to not only just go out there and impose your will across this Monster Jam dirt, but you are going to have those opportunities as well to kind of react to things, and that's exactly what Mike Vaughters did.
Mike Vaughters still owns the original Black Stallion. I love this truck. I'm a Maryland native. They incorporate that cool Maryland flag on the front. You can't see a lot of it now because that truck has been through it this weekend as more continues to come off and lay down on the track. But Mike Vaughters getting it done in Black Stallion. Now try to spin it around possibly for a donut, but he is heading back across the ramp.
Well, his motor sounds wounded as well to me, and not really a timing issue. To me, it sounds like something might be loose inside that motor, and so he's probably also watching that oil pressure, making sure it's not dropping below a certain level. And so considering the fact that his motor sounds a little bit wounded, he's kind of crawling around the track a little bit, trying to fill his time, and then also trying to take advantage of the opportunities as they come.
Now these two-show events are tough on drivers and tough on trucks, especially the parts. And now Mike Vaughters just trying to make something happen and fill out that clock with everything he has left in Black Stallion.
Well, he definitely had the wow moment with that front roll. A 7.819, I think, given the fact that he had a wounded motor and was kind of nursing it around the track, I think that's actually a pretty good score.
Black Stallion 7.819, good for second place. There is that front flip, gets it on the tires, thought he was going to go across for the wheelie, but lands it back down. So a nice move putting Mike Vaughters and Black Stallion in second. We have more Monster Jam freestyle coming up next. This is Stadium Championship Series 3 in Atlanta at Mercedes Benz Stadium. Stay tuned, more on the way. You're watching Monster Jam. We're at Mercedes Benz Stadium in Atlanta. It's Stadium Championship Series 3, and the competition is getting fierce. We have 3 competitions tonight. Freestyle is underway, and so far, Monster Mud is a score to beat with 8.847. Right now, it's time for the original Superglue Corporation Pit Report.
The Jester team is having electrical issues on the truck. They thought maybe the officials had shut them off during racing, but when they came back out to check things out, they found an issue with their relay panel. Now, the relay panel on a Monster Jam truck basically works like the fuse box on your car. It keeps charge and electricity going to all the electrical components of the truck. And so what the team is doing right now is that they're replacing all of those fuses in there to try to make sure that they can get power throughout the truck.
The thing I love about the team at Tom Fuller Motorsports working on Jester, it's the Pagliarulo family. You see Matt, his son Nick, his wife as well. They are all a part of this team, and they are all doing everything they can to keep Jester in top shape for competition.
Well, this truck is owned by Matt and his family, and so they're keeping a close eye on that relay panel, all the electrical components that would tie into something like that. And I know all of his crew members are nervous from that standpoint, but someone like Matt has put all of that out of his head. And he said, you know what, I can't come out here and just expect that things aren't going to cooperate or work the way that they should. I've got to put that all out of my mind. The fans came out here to see this Jester truck fly through the air, and I have every expectation that if anyone can pull that off, it's going to be Matt.
And for as big as these Monster Jam trucks are, 12,000 pounds, as we see another nice jump for Matt Pagliarulo, there's a lot of finesse involved in them, and the smallest component, the smallest part, anything that goes wrong or breaks could stop your night completely.
Well, one of the things that looks like it's a little bit of an early issue is his rear steer. You saw him kind of get stuck in that corner for a second, and the back tires are turning somewhat, so it doesn't look like it's completely gone, but maybe it's delayed, or maybe it's just not coming back to center as quickly as he wants it to, and so he's probably a little bit slow in hitting it because he knows he's got to make sure he's able to get around the track very quickly with that momentum, but he's still getting some really nice air.
And he's on 3 wheels right now, moving around the track. On 3 wheels is Jester, and he continues to try and get through the freestyle run in one piece. The truck hanging on to the balance of that chassis. So Matt Pagliarulo going to come back around with another nice jump, get some good air, and look at those shocks. The nitrogen shocks is giving you that bounce and making you land soft as a feather as you continue to try to get up. He is going for the backflip on 2 wheels. It looks like he bailed at the end when he couldn't get all 4 tires down.
Well, he may have a sway bar or something that's a little bit upset, or maybe a 4-link bar, because you can tell anytime you're in a corner and you lift up one of those front tires, you can tell that the truck's not very happy. But still, Matt makes the most of a situation where they had some gremlins that snuck up on him throughout the day, and he still puts on a really nice freestyle overall.
Yeah, battling some issues in the pits, was able to make it out, and as you said, looked like he was continuing to battle those during his freestyle run, but he puts together some nice jumps, gets a 6.504, good enough for 5th place for Matt Pagliarulo and Jester.
I think that score was way too low for that run. But Charlie Pauken and Gravedigger, he's somebody that has seen a lot of high scores in his career because there's very few people out there in the business and the history of the sport that does it better than this guy. And if you're going to study somebody, if you're willing to drive Monster Jam trucks in the future and you need to go out there and study the veterans, this is the guy that you need to go and find his videos on Monster Jam's YouTube channel and watch him, study how he controls the truck midair, on the ground, and pay attention to what he's getting out of these trucks.
And there's very few drivers that have been doing it as long as Charlie Pauken, and he is going for the Monster Energy backflip ramp. He gets it up, and a full rotation for Gravedigger sticks the landing, and Charlie Pauken going to be our new leader with 9.138.
Well, that was a really early backflip in the run, and unfortunately it didn't keep the truck together. The back end of the truck took the brunt of that fall, but I think that's a pretty gracious score for such an early backflip and ultimately damage.
There's your BKT Freestyle Top 5. More from Atlanta coming up next.
This portion of Monster Jam is brought to you by Great Clips. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. This portion of Monster Jam is brought to you by Spin Master Toys. Real trucks, real action, Monster Jam.
You're watching Monster Jam from Atlanta Mercedes Benz Stadium. It's Stadium Championship Series 3, and it's time for the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge recap. And we're going to start with Corey Rummel, who gets up on the nose and slides it across and tries to get it back, and is going to end up on the hood of Megalodon Fire.
Well, I think he borrowed a little bit too much trouble there because he actually saved it after it over-rotated, but unfortunately ended up on his roof. Colvin R trying to get that front end of the truck up and back on the wheelie bar, but goes for a nice nose wheelie for his second hit and is able to kind of balance that back in for just a second or so. But Lindsey Wink with a really nice wheelie, gets it on the tailgate, rides it across the pad.
Lindsey Wink with a nice bicycle there, getting some nice extension and back up over the freestyle ramp. No extra points for that. Mike Vodders in Overkill Evolution, a moonwalk over the freestyle ramp and back on the 2 rear tires, and he's going to do it again on the other side.
Well, that was an awesome combination, and I think that's where this competition is going to, where it's not just going to be one move or one maneuver. You're going to see multiple back-to-back. But Todd LeDuc, this is a move that he has begun to perfect. Nose wheelies after nose wheelies, and he understands how to balance that Monster Jam truck.
And Todd LeDuc, great run, 9.752. That was our winner for the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge.
Well, Todd, you had so much patience there in the cab of the truck as you pick up your second 2-Wheel Skills victory of the season.
No, it was incredible. You know, after winning, you know, I saw Digger go out early and kind of make some mistakes, and so did Dragon Ice. Those are my 2 biggest competitors. So I'm thinking points, and I'm like, you know what, Todd? Have fun. Drive like your normal self. Don't think about it. Just drive off instinct. But we got that awesome moonwalk up there on the balance point. Almost went a little bit over the top. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to give the other side of the stadium a little bit of a show. We got up again. The truck started twisting on me. It was unbelievable. But hey, this is what we need to do. To win this championship is to win. And this is Todd LeDuc. I'm back.
Yeah, you know, I've been holding on to 4th place all season long, and the points from 4th place to 7th place was 6 points. That's it. So I went from 4th to 7th in one show, all because I missed racing. So I'm going to come out here tonight and try to stay consistent, make some passes in racing, get some more points, and hopefully come out with another win.
We talked about every competition being crucial, and Brianna Mahan just said it. She missed one competition and dropped from 4th to 7th. What does that do to your psyche as a driver when you fall that far after one event?
Well, you start to overthink things, and just like this right here, right in the middle of a run, after one hit, the truck shuts off for some odd reason. It's the same dynamic where you begin to try to do probably more than you originally were planning to do, and now all of a sudden, Brianna, just after one hit, getting shut off just like that, she has to pull out all the stops. Mentally, she's ready to do it. Nice little bicycle there, a nice technical move, whether it was on purpose or not. She took what the track was giving her, and that is a sign of a really good driver.
You can't plan a lot of this out. You take exactly what you said, what the track gives you, and you make the best of it. And she held on to the bicycle. Nice little jump off the freestyle ramp, and she's going back across the pod and back down for Whiplash, trying to make it happen. Brianna Mahan in Whiplash going to come back around now, hits the jump, and gets some nice air, lands it in great view inside the cab of Whiplash.
Well, she gets the truck upset, and to your point, when you're watching her work inside that cab, and that's her office in there, and she's working hard, and she's making sure she's doing everything she can physically to make this Whiplash truck submit to her will. And here she is lining up to that transition. Probably doesn't get quite enough speed to get the massive air that the fans want to see, but her flow and what she's doing getting around the track is exactly what she needs to be doing.
And a great view with that cab. You see how difficult it is as a driver. You're basically driving with one hand. You see the right hand on the rear steer. How tough is it to get this truck around when you don't have the rear steer involved?
Well, the biggest thing is that hood in her way. I mean, she can see that obviously above the hood, but she's looking down probably as much down through that plexiglass that's by her feet, because you can see over those big giant BKT tires that way. But lining up for that Monster Energy backflip ramp. Perfect rotation, lands on all fours, immediately throws it in reverse. She needs to hit something big right here.
Yeah, this is that crucial point. She comes off the back of the ramp. You got to do something big after the backflip, and another nice jump for Brianna Mahan. She gets back down across the freestyle ramp, and she is going to stop right in front of her competition. A little bit of how about that moment for Brianna Mahan in Whiplash.
Yeah, an 8.903. Again, I think that's a little bit of a low score. She hit the backflip ramp. She gave the fans what they wanted to see.
I thought it was a solid run in second place for now. Right now, let's go to Inside Monster Jam.
It is. It's frustrating, and I know we can almost as drivers see what's going to happen. If you're going to go at fifth or sixth, and let's say the crowd hasn't been entertained yet, all it takes is a decent run and a backflip, and they're going to get 9.8. And the next 8 trucks will go out there and do triple backflips, and land them, and there's nowhere to go higher because you've already given out your 10s. It's just. I think the judges got to be held accountable. They wanted the judging in their hands, and now they have it. They're in complete control of 2/3 of our show and our points. They're the ones that decide if we go to the World Finals in Orlando or not. So the call's in their hands. They just got to make the right one.
Well, Lindsey Wink is 100% correct in that interview, and I love the directness that he gave, because we love the fact that Monster Jam fans are part of the show. But they also have an obligation to understand how to score, because we as drivers want to put on the best show, and it doesn't come down to just one move or one single wow moment. And so when you look at the freestyle criteria, it's filling your time. We have 120 seconds that you want to fill. It's using the whole track. Who's getting around and hitting the most obstacles? It's the control, the technical moves and the combinations, but it's also that creativity and wow factor, and fans need to take all of that into consideration when they get on judgeszone.com.
Absolutely. This is the only sport where the fans get that opportunity, get that privilege, and get the pleasure of determining who the winner is, or helping to determine. And there are 14 superstars on this series, and Bryce, only one is guaranteed to go to World Finals. There might be some other competitors invited, but only one gets to go, and the fans have a lot to say when it comes to that one winner.
Well, and if we're judging based on the judgeszone.com criteria and freestyle criteria, so far Lindsey's doing a really nice job of getting around the track, and he's hitting a lot of different obstacles. We still want to see the control on the technical side and that creativity and wow factor. That's what Lindsey needs to pull out.
Yeah, he's on a mission right now, and he is lining up for the Monster Energy backflip, and he gets some nice air and lands it, and he is facing the track, and he is going to go back again. This is that moment. Is he going to make that jump? And the inside the cab view of the air for Lucas Oil Crusader.
You see how hard these drivers have to work to be able to get these trucks to do what we want them to do. And you saw those awesome in-cab shots. I think that's my favorite shot to see of these drivers, because you can tell what the truck is doing to that driver in that moment. And so I need this massive air right there from Lindsey. We got to get that wow moment, though. It's time to get the truck upset. You pulled a perfect backflip. So what's next? What's going to get those fans out of their seats again?
Yeah, Lindsey Wink likes to drive upset. He likes when the truck is angry. We've heard that from him before, and he continues to dominate this freestyle track, and it looks like he is coming to a stop. So a solid run for Lindsey Wink and Lucas Oil Crusader.
Something must have let go in that truck a little bit. The techs felt like they needed to shut him off and end his run, but that's a really good run overall for Lindsey. He should be happy. A 9.364. I absolutely agree with that score.
Yeah, the fans did a great job with that one. Your new leader with some really nice jumps, some sky wheelies, high air, and that backflip was a perfect landing. Here's your BKT Freestyle Top 5. Let's go to the America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Look In.
Who's ready for America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Look In?
So we're checking in with Daniel Fiegel, the crew chief for Monster Energy. So this points race is getting tight. So what's kind of Todd's mentality out there right now?
Todd's a natural racer. He just wants to win, and we're going to give everything we got to get it to the finish line.
So how is this points race really affecting you guys here in the back, you crew chiefs and technicians, and what you guys are putting into the truck?
We're doing everything we can to keep these trucks on top, keep them tight-knit, all the nuts and bolts ready to go so we can win these races.
Yeah, Todd's a pretty high-strung guy, too, and it's kind of your job to kind of keep him calm in the seat out there and keep him focused. So what's your advice to him, and what are you telling him on the radio throughout the show?
Just do your thing, have a good time, race your own race. That's the best way to do it.
A little bit of controversy this weekend here in Atlanta with that huge #1 that's been sitting by the truck in the pit party. So I kind of want to know what your opinion here is as the crew chief of that #1 out by the truck.
Hey, we're #1, so I love it. Trying to get in the other drivers' heads and keep everybody on their toes.
Todd the Duke, an incredibly nice guy, but does not shy away from the confidence that he displays as a Monster Jam truck driver. He's your season points leader. He's 2 for 2, going for the hat trick next. There's a look at the CNN Center, a staple in downtown Atlanta, Georgia for many, many years. The fans flocked into Mercedes Benz Stadium for this incredible action of the Monster Jam Stadium Championship Series 3. And now Todd the Duke, we've had 2 competitions. He's won them both, and he's trying for the 3rd in what has been an eventful night for Monster Energy.
Well, now the fans have kind of had this appetite for not only backflips, but some really big air. And with Oil Crusader sitting at a 9.364, that's a really difficult score to beat given how good these runs have been so far. And so if I'm Todd, I'm thinking, okay, I've got to roll the dice. I've got to try to get something out of this track and this Monster Energy truck that maybe the fans haven't seen, and I'm on the edge of my seat waiting to see what Todd can pull off.
Yeah, you know you're going to get the big air with Todd the Duke. You know you're going to get the accelerated jumps, and you know you're probably going to squeeze a backflip in. But what can he bring to the table that we haven't already seen from the 2-time World Finals champion? The score to beat from Lindsey Wing is going to be a daunting task, but Todd the Duke going to try to make it happen. Coming back around the track, he goes, going to side swipe through the containers, and over the bus he goes. Todd the Duke in Monster Energy. There is that signature air from Todd.
One of the things, too, I think you should study about Todd LeDuc is his ability to set himself up for the next jump. Massive air there off the transition. But watch him as the truck is getting to land. He's already getting the truck situated towards whatever obstacle he already knows he wants to go hit. Awesome, awesome jump there. He comes down pretty hard on that front end. That front end is taking a beating, but it looks healthy to me so far.
That was an end-over-end jump. The rear of the Monster Energy truck looked like it got higher than the front hood. Then he lands it, another great jump, and he's got another ramp in front of him, so why not send it and keep it going? Todd LeDuc now trying to line himself up for more of this incredible track at the Mercedes Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Another good solid jump for Monster Energy.
Well, he's driving on the edge of being out of control, and that's exactly where he likes to be. And he's probably one of the most controlled individuals I see being on that edge of out of control. But it lines up for the 8-pack. What a flip off of that huge rotation and sets it on one tire. He holds it there for a period of time and kind of lets it marinate a little bit and goes and hits a massive jump right next. That was an awesome moment.
The incredible balance to land on one tire and bounce it up and down. It was almost like he was doing a ballerina trick in a Monster Jam truck, and he is going to end his run on top of the freestyle pad in style. He knows what an incredible run that was, and this Monster Jam crowd is letting him hear it.
Well, even just the patience that he had when he was sitting on one tire, instead of quickly throwing it in reverse and kind of panic throttling to save it, he lets it sit there. And a 9.718, that's a really great score. That's going to be a very tough score to beat from here on out.
Your new leader, Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy. Somebody has to follow that. And the lucky recipient, Cole Bernard, the Black Pearl Monster Truck.
You got to do something that everyone's going to remember, and you got to get the hype up. And to go out and do a freestyle, you want to have noise and you want to be moving fast. You know, you want to have good momentum and getting around the place. It doesn't even really matter that you're hitting the jumps as long as you're moving and at least hitting something. And you don't have to have the big air and everything. You got to definitely have wow moments. But I have a theory that I like to be, I guess my driving style for freestyle is to be like a bumblebee stuck in a fishbowl. And to be busy and making noise like that, it gets the crowd excited too. And so the more excited and busy they can be, the more excited and busy I am on the floor, the more excited and busy my score is.
A bumblebee stuck in a fishbowl, Bryce. I have never heard that when it comes to Monster Jam freestyle.
Well, it definitely paints the perfect picture of a Cole Vennard freestyle run because, you know, he's somebody that I've always seen as being very controlled, but not in a conservative way. I've seen him do stuff in a Monster Jam truck that I have not even thought was possible because he understands how to get a truck to its limit without going past it. And then sometimes when he does go past that limit, he kind of reels it back in just like that, where a lot of drivers might have panicked out of what he just did, where he kind of threatened the truck to maybe even roll on those sidewalls, but he was patient. He let the truck kind of settle itself before he went on to the next jump.
Cole Vennard in the Black Pearl Monster Truck won freestyle here last night with a score of 9.610. It's going to take more than that to beat Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy score, but a good jump from Cole Vennard. He started as crew chief for Adam Anderson with Gravedigger. The legend made his debut in that truck, and now lining up for the Monster Energy backflip, gets it around on 2 tires and back on the 4. A nice backflip for Cole Vennard in the Black Pearl.
Well, again, he was very patient, and he watched it, and he let it kind of settle right there at the base of that backflip ramp. And so at this point, you've landed the backflip, the truck is still together, it's healthy. Now it's time to let it all loose.
2 World Finals appearances for Cole Vennard, looking for his 3rd. Looks like an early end to his freestyle run, but a great backflip for him puts the exclamation point on the Black Pearl Monster Truck freestyle.
Well, I know he was excited about that. I think that's way too low, a 7.793. He got the backflip and got some decent air as well, but the truck was upset the entire run. Maybe it was just that he had to get shut off early. I'm not sure what it was, but that's disappointing.
It could be all about the clock. Didn't quite get it filled. Cole Vennard in the Black Pearl with a great run, but his Monster Energy still in front in freestyle.
This portion of Monster Jam is brought to you by America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. It's not just a better deal, it's America's best.
Today's action in Atlanta has been the Todd LeDuc show in Monster Energy. He's your season point standings leader by 1 point, but the guy right behind him has his work cut out for him. Here's John Zimmer, Dragon Ice.
Today at Pit Party, Todd LeDuc has this giant #1 over by his truck. So what did you think when you saw it, knowing he has a narrow 1-point lead over you here in the points?
For me personally, I honestly got a kick out of it. Quite a few of us drivers did talk about it. It's obviously like an ego thing, like, hey, look at me, I'm leading the points, but reality is it's still early. We have a lot of events left. We're here in Atlanta for 2 great shows today, and I don't plan on just sitting back and letting his points lead leave me. I plan on either taking it or being right there. And I think he forgets that behind me is people like Charlie Balkin, Lindsey Wing, Becky, Cole Vennard. It's not just me, it's his ego trying to show all of us, haha, look at me.
That's the definition of tension, and you can almost cut it with a knife now. It's so tangible, and I think that when you're coming out here and you're trying to compete against Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy, knowing he has the top spot, and right now in freestyle, knowing that he's sitting in that top position as well with a 9.718. If I'm John Zimmer and I'm trying to process what do I have to do to knock off Todd and to make sure that the fans vote my way, it's got to be those technical moments. It's got to be those wow moments as well. But he's got to get a lot of hits in, and he's got to get a backflip in as well.
He talked about not letting Todd's lead get away from him, but Todd is 2 for 2 today. He's won America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing. He's won the Great Clips 2 Wheel Skills Challenge, and he's currently leading freestyle. So in order for that not to happen, something spectacular needs to happen this run for John Zimmer and Dragon Ice.
It's funny because his interview was a lot like his driving style. Just composed intensity. That's how I would sum up John Zimmer as a whole. And I know that Todd LeDuc coming out there and doing what he did in the pit party, that's only going to fire up John Zimmer. And honestly, it's probably going to fire up some of the other drivers, hoping that someone does knock Todd off of that top positions where he was. Lines up for that 8-pack. That was such a fast rotation in that backflip, and he pulls it off perfectly. That was awesome.
He pushed himself off of the front 2 tires. Looked like he came up so short because it was fast, but was able to get the extension from the tires. And look at the body on Dragon Ice now starting to fall apart. But that's the move you need if you're John Zimmer and you're still looking up at Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy. A nice slap wheelie and back over the freestyle ramp. Going to come back around and try something else. Looking at John Zimmer inside the cab. I love the hat on the steering wheel. We see a lot of drivers doing that. It's shades of Neil Elliott from Max D. But here is John Zimmer trying to get it done and trying to beat Todd LeDuc at his own game. And maybe John Zimmer moves that number 1 over his pit area, and a nice donut revolution for Dragon Ice.
Well, it's a great run overall, and he's doing something different that the fans haven't seen. We're noticing that in any of those in-cap shots as well, he's kind of fighting with that visor. He's trying to pull it up. Maybe it's starting to fog up a little bit. And then as soon as he lands, you got to realize when we're dropping from 25, 30 feet in the air, that's going to shut that visor. But John Zimmer, he's got to be happy with this run. He gave it all that he could out of that Dragon Ice machine. The fans have got to be happy.
And here's a shot at the nice jump he started off with in Dragon Ice. Going to come back across on the other side on the front 2 wheels. Skies it up, lands on the back 2 tires. And here is that 8-pack backflip. Shortens it a little bit, but gets the push off the front 2 tires and up over the bus. He goes 8.925, Bryce. I think that might be a little low from the fans, but Todd LeDuc and Monster Energy still out in front with 9.718 in freestyle.
You know, hitting that 8-pack backflip ramp, you know, I was told it's just a lot like the container, so it's not anything real different. I'm comfortable with doing a regular backflip, so I figured, you know, why not? Let's see how this ramp's going to do and hope for the best. You know, it definitely gives you a lot more momentum when you do actually land a backflip. It is a good feeling. That flip was incredibly fast. I've never done a backflip that fast in my life. It was just sky and dirt, and that was it. And then, you know, you could feel the truck kind of settle and where you're back on all fours. And it was a great feeling. So yeah, it definitely gives a little bit more momentum to finish the rest of your run, which is why I like to throw that in there a little bit in the middle of it so you can get a little bit more amped up about everything.
Becky McDonough, El Toro Loco, a winner here last night in the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge, trying to get a win in Monster Jam Freestyle. And there is that first jump. She clears the freestyle pod and gets that nice extension of the truck and gets out in front, and now is backing up to look at the track all over again.
Well, she's definitely testing out the truck right away and making sure that the truck feels right and the shocks are operating the way that she needs them to. And in true Becky McDonough fashion, she's not holding anything back. And I think that's why she has such a big fan base. They love her attitude in the truck. They love her attitude outside of the truck. And it's always fun to watch them show up in droves and with all of their Becky McDonough signs and everybody that's just fired up and wants to see her do well.
Becky McDonough 2 years ago became the first female driver to win a race at World Finals since 2009. And look at the bounce on the back 2 tires, gets a sky wheelie and gets great balance on the El Toro Loco monster truck.
Well, that's the technical side that the fans should be using when they judge. And some of that creativity that the drivers are trying to pull out. That's the stuff that we've got to be able to include in this freestyle run. But a huge flip off of that 8-pack. And almost sets it on the wheelie bar, but then just falls over on the right side. She doesn't seem like she was able to quite catch that reverse quickly enough to be able to bring it down.
She talked about doing it, and she did it. Didn't stick the landing, but still look at the flip she makes. She got on the back 2 tires, and just like you said, couldn't quite get out of it. But a good run for Becky McDonough and El Toro Loco, and there is the excitement from Todd LeDuc, giving his truck a little love. Your freestyle winner, Todd LeDuc, and Monster Energy, 14 points going his way.
Well, I know that Becky is looking forward to hitting that again, and I know all of these competitors, when they're looking at the fact that Todd LeDuc just swept this weekend, now that this is the ultimate competitive cauldron, it is so competitive. You got thick tension that's going between these drivers. That is something that as they go forward, now there's a massive target on Todd LeDuc's back, and all of the other drivers want to take him out.
Todd LeDuc showed up yesterday with that giant number 1, and today he backed it up. 42 points gives him the overall event championship for Monster Energy. Lindsey Wink in second. There's John Zimmer in third, 14 behind Todd LeDuc. It could have been a lot worse with that sweep from LeDuc, but 14 points off, not bad for John Zimmer and Dragon Eyes. A great night for Team Monster Energy. Let's hear from our overall event champion, Todd LeDuc, and his team.
Well, Todd, I really think that it was that Miami freestyle where you just let her rip and went back to your old form that really brought it back to you. And a clean sweep tonight, the overall event championship.
You're right. We just unleashed the beast, in that Monster Energy truck. Daniel's had the truck on point every week. And it was just up to me. And all of a sudden, it just seemed like Miami, it just clicked. When we talked earlier, I was like, I could just feel the old Todd LeDuc coming out. And, dominance there, and then to come here and to sweep, it's like a dream. We won racing, then to back it up with 2-wheel skill, and then to win freestyle. These Atlanta fans definitely got a show.
Tyler Duke and crew chief Daniel Fiegel showing off the event championship trophy. They unleashed the beast today in Atlanta. That is Monster Energy. Coming into today, Tyler Duke had a 1-point lead that now extends to 17 over John Zimmer in Dragon Ice.
Well, to Todd's credit, though, he started all the trash talk this weekend, but he backed it up. But now, moving forward, the pressure's on.
Mathematically, there are still a number of drivers still in it for that automatic bid to World Finals, but right now Tyler Duke sitting on a nice cushion going into next week. What an amazing night for Tyler Duke and Monster Energy, the first clean sweep of the 2019 season for Stadium Championship Series 3. With those points, he has a little bit of a cushion now in his lead. So as a driver, can he relax a little bit, or do you have to continue to push the throttle?
Well, I don't think it's in Todd's DNA to back down, and so I know that the pressure's on for Todd, but I think he can deliver.
Get your tickets to World Finals in Orlando, Florida, May 10th and 11th at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. Follow us on social media at Monster Jam. For Bryce Kenny and Leslie Mears, I'm Scott Jordan. We'll see you next time.